How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we're back with another FPL live stream. We only did one just yesterday, but today is the Game Week 14 deadline stream. If you're watching this over on YouTube, hi! We did this last evening at 7 p.m. EST, as we normally do during the middle of the week. Although this will be the last one that is during the middle of the week that I'll have to do, at least for probably the month of December, or most of it, that I'll have to do the day before, because I'm on vacation, which means I get to do them basically when they're going to be happening, which is quite nice. So make sure to check them out. We do them over on Twitch, but most likely I will be in the chat answering questions right now. I was supposed to be answering the questions in the preview chat, but if you didn't get a chance to check that out, or you did ask a question and I wasn't there, apologies. I will definitely be in the chat tomorrow for sure, because if I remember correctly, that's not close to my lunch break, but it's close enough. So should be fine for that. But yeah, we're gonna go through how the lineup's looking. We're gonna be taking a look at the fixtures and how they kind of play out. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff that we normally would do in our other videos, such as captaincy. We'll take a look at like teams to target. We'll take a look at my buy, hold, and sell for the week as well. And we'll also take a look at future transfers and that sort of stuff, and where we stack up at the moment. But before we do that, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So, if you haven't seen or been around on the streams or anything recently, Fantasy Football Scout, just a reminder, I believe the Black Friday sale might have already just ended, or is going to end in an hour or two. And this would have been yesterday, so if you're watching this on YouTube, I think it's probably over already if I'm not recalling. But fear not, you can still get the same wonderful content that's in the Fantasy Football Scout members area, such as the fully customizable stats tables, which we're going to look at today as well. And we're also going to take a look at the things that we like to look at, like the season ticker as well. Haven't done that in a while, so we're going to take a look at that and see how that is looking for teams for both in attack and in defense. And yeah, fantastic offer. I believe it's £25 normally, £20 with the discount. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. It certainly helped mine. So definitely go check that out. The link's in the about section or in the description below, depending on which platform you are on as well. So without further ado, let's see how the team looks at the moment. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. Now, let me just put this, where's the team? There we go. Got it. That's the team as it stands at the moment, and your eyes do not deceive you if you weren't here for the stream yesterday. I'm ranked 629th in the world, having an absolutely ridiculous season at the moment, and hopefully we can continue that. 63 points last week as well. And we're looking to roll a transfer this week, which is always nice, which is what we've done quite often this season as well. So let's actually take a look at that. We'll start off on that as kind of a lightener into the stream. So this is the transfers made column, and I believe transfers made. I don't know what TC stands for. Maybe that's hits or something. Game Week 4. Did I take a hit in Game Week 4? Yeah. Okay, I guess it's transfer costs. I guess is what it potentially means. So yeah. So if we look at the transfers made, so we made none in Game Week 1. We made none in Game Week 2. We made one in Game Week 3 using one of our frees. We made 3 in Game Week 4, taking a hit. Then we did 1, 1, 1. We made none. Then we made... Oh no, we wildcarded in Game Week 8. We then made none, rolled, made 2, made none, made 1, and then made 2 last week. So we've only taken 1 hit on the season as a whole. If you take a look at the start to the season, so we had a ridiculous start to the season. Absolutely ridiculous start. We started with Simicast. We had Ben Rama and Antonio in there. Ings and Wilson did well for us off the start. Fernandez was obviously ridiculous off the start. We then kept it going. 79 points. Tsimikas and Trent did well, and Antonio Benron banked twice in a row. Ings kept going. Salah captain was the only time that he blanked, actually, which was very interesting to see. All season, we wouldn't have known that going on the rest of the season. Game week 3, we captained Son. We didn't have Salah. We actually transferred him out after the first 2 game weeks. I think Son matched him at that point as well, because we were looking to keep Bruno for Wolves away, Newcastle at home, and then we were going to bring Salah back in. I think that's what the initial plan was. At least that's what my thinking was, because Salah had Chelsea and Leeds. Turns out Salah did better than Bruno, because United went on a bit of a downturn. We then kept Bruno in there. We got Ronaldo when he came in and smashed it. Still did well. That week in game week 4, what did Salah do? Salah got just a goal, but we got Ronaldo's 2. I think that was a week where Lukaku captained as well. Also would have paid off. Antonio got suspended as well, so we benched him the next week. We then brought Salah back in, captained him. We also got Sarr in, who got us 15 points. Trent didn't play, which was kind of weird. I think that was after the international break. We captained Ronaldo. This was the only time where we blanked, basically, because we captained we captaining someone else. Salah, we got the blank on Salah in game week 2, but ever since which we've just been captaining Salah for the most part. Never mind. We captained Ronaldo again. My bad. Yeah, that was the time. That was the time I was remembering where we blanked on that. So we could have had even more points potentially. But yeah, this week wasn't great. We did the 1 transfer, and then we wildcarded. So we went from Sanchez, Rudiger, Veltman, Shaw, Fornals, Benrahma, Sarr, Salah, Ronaldo, Antonio, Ings, Begovic, Gilmore, Trent, and Tsimikas, who we just kept on our bench. This was at the time in game week 6 and 7 where West Ham had Brentford and Leeds, and we thought they'd do well, and they didn't do well at all. Just the 1 goal between the 3 of them in the 2 games. We wildcarded. We got in Ben Chilwell, we got in Reece James, we got in Diaz, we got in Cancelo, we got in Trent. We went real big at the back. We brought in Lukaku, and we did the Chilwell transfer. Definitely paid off for sure. Game week 9, we had an absolute stormer. Reece James and Chilwell did absolute crazy numbers. We captained Salah. I believe this was the week that he scored a hat-trick and an assist. Lukaku didn't play. Unfortunately, Smith Rowe was on our bench with 13 points, so could have had way more. Then Chilwell and James hit again. We went with the double goalkeepers, which didn't pay off there, but our midfield helped us out a bit there. Then another decent week from our backline. James, Trent, Cancelo, Salah captain again. Again, Rafinha and Smith Rowe hit, so that was nice. Game week 12, a couple game weeks ago, the backline did just absolute crazy numbers, 95 points. St. Maximin, Jimenez, and Tony all did well. And then game week 13 last week, where we got 63 points. Trent, Jota, Salah, Tony all doing well for us there with Ramsdale. And that brings us to this week. So, all things considered, our transfers have been pretty good, pretty straightforward. Our wild card was definitely probably the big turning point, I would say, because of the fact that we brought in Reece James and we brought in Chilwell before pretty much everyone, for the most part. And they did really, really well. And now we're just gaining the amount of value on them over and over and over again. Chilwell we've sold, recently because of the injury. But like if you look at the value on some of the players that we've, that's not where we can look at the value. Value would be here. Like Ramsdale we brought in 4.5. He's now 4.9. Reece James is 5.5 when we bought him. He's now 6.3 million, which is just ridiculous. Trent we had since 7.5. Cancelo we got slightly late, In the 6.1 mark, but he's now 6.7, so real expensive. Smith Rowe we had since he was 5.3. Salah we've had since he was 12.5. We've done really well on some of the value on our team here. Our overall team value, I saw somebody mentioned it in one of the what's name. So technically our overall team value is what, 104.1? I think that's what it would be. You add up the in the bank and the value of the players, but a lot of that is tied up in specifically Reece James, Salah, Cancelo, and Ramsdale. Like a lot of that value. So yeah, definitely been doing well. I'm just trying to keep it simple this season. Last season, tried to be too extravagant, tried to be too crazy with things. Just played it a lot more patient this season, looking at things holistically. Tried to look at things and see what we can go for, what might look like it might do well. Like recognizing that Thomas Tuchel was looking to get most of their attacks like down the wing, which resulted in their left wing back and right wing back being super important. We happened to pick the ones that were going to play there. They were just too good not to. Getting on Cancelo the second because I knew Cancelo was good, but the second he started playing game in game out, it was all about rotation for the fullback. So it could have easily gone pear-shaped. They could have easily not played, but we got fortunate with that, because normally you would say James, Alonso, Cancelo, or James, Cancelo, and Chilwell would have been super risky. And if we actually go back to the wild card, would have been game week 8. Like if you look at some of the risky picks here, Smith Rowe, we didn't know if he was fully nailed at that time. Reece James, Chilwell, and Cancelo were all potentially risky at the time. Even though Cancelo did play 7 games in a row, everyone was waiting, well, when's he going to get benched? When's he going to get rotated? So, yeah. Was quite interesting how that one panned out. Very fortunate on that front. And you need a bit of luck. Some variance has to go your way. Some variance definitely has to go your way in order to get up the ranks early on. And I think it's the most important at the beginning of the season. So, I would say the 2 biggest things would be the Chelsea wingbacks and getting on big at the back when I wildcarded. And recognizing that. And also starting off with Ben Rama strictly off of a game that I watched versus Atalanta. And I was like, well, West Ham have a couple of halfway decent fixtures in the beginning of the season. If Atalanta's a very attacking team and teams try to go at West Ham, they're going to rip them up. And that's exactly what they did. Ben Rama and Antonio struck, I think, goal and assist for the both first and second game. And that's why our rank was so high initially. I think we started off like 55k or something. Went up a bit and then came right the way back down. Yeah, 55k, the highest. We haven't been out of the top 100k this season, and hopefully that's still that it stays that way for sure. Hopefully we don't go outside the top 1k. That'd be great. Yeah, we had a bit of a rough patch in the middle. In here where we went from 50, like our initial rank, up to 80k, way back down to like a really nice green arrow, and then back up again over 2 reds. And then we had game week 10, which we did really well. Game week 10 was probably our best week in terms of rank rise, because of the fact that James hit for a brace and got 21, and Chilwell hit at the same time as well. That was we did really well there. And game week 12 was also good as well. Game week 12 was quite good with all our backline hitting, and then all our differentials hit. Jimenez, St. Maximin, and Tony's not necessarily differential, but he still did the business as well. So moving on to the present day, present game week. Game week 14 starts tomorrow. We're gonna bring in the Fantasy Football Scout membership area. We're going to take a look at the season ticker. So this is a tool in the Fantasy Football Scout membership area, which basically it organizes all the fixtures by default of all the teams. This is currently over the next 5 game weeks. So you can see across the top 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That just signifies the game week that it is. You can also see the teams on the left-hand side, going in alphabetical order. And then you can see each fixture. So, since Arsenal's fixture is in lowercase, that means they are away from home. That means they're away from home. If it's in all caps, like Aston Villa, that means they are at home. Just going to refresh it here. And you can change to where it starts. If you want to look ahead a little bit, you can use this dial down the bottom here. Let's say I wanted to start it in Gameweek 24. I want to see who's playing, like during the blanks when Chelsea goes and does the World Club Cup or whatever it is. We can see the fixtures here. So if we wanted to take a look and say, I want to bring in a player that's going to be good over the next 6 weeks, you have these plus and minus here as well. So I can use the minus to get rid of fixtures and just do it just for this week. Excuse me. Or you can add fixtures and go as big as you want for fixtures. But if we're going to look over the sample size that I use for most tables, which is the next 4 game weeks, we'll just put it to the next 4. And what we'll do first is we'll look at attack. So we'll click on attack here. There are these metrics down here where you can adjust things based on home and away. And you can say, well, is Arsenal's attack about even to Aston Villa's at home? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If you want to adjust them whichever way you want, Fantasy Football Scout, I think reading is mostly on the money. So I'm going to stick with those. And then you can sort by difficulty. So this will rank them by their difficulty. So if you look at the top of the fixtures, the blue fixtures, the dark blue fixtures, are the really easy fixtures. And the lighter it gets and the closer it goes to red, the worse the fixture gets. So if you look at like Spurs' fixture in Game Week 15, Norwich at home, that's the best possible type of fixture you can get. Think of it like an FDR rating of 2 on the FPL website. So if I looked like Man City, it'd be like this fixture, Watford away as an example. It's like a really good fixture. And we can see Man City. Where's Man City? Man City. Watford away is like a dark bluish fixture. And then you look at Wolves. Man City away. Just bad, bad, bad. Not good at all. And that's like an FDR rating of 5. So if we looked at Jimenez on the what's name on the fixture list here, FDR rating 5, worst one you could possibly have. So you'll see a lot of the teams that have the blue or the real nice fixtures are typically up at the top. And if we look over the next 4 game weeks, Chelsea and Man City are in those sets of fixtures. And that's because they've been adjusted to whereas Wolves, Everton, Leeds have all been put under like not the greatest teams in the Premier League at the moment. And it should be an easier ride for whoever's playing them. So having Man City and Chelsea cover or players or whatever the term you would like to use is somewhat important. But if you look down the bottom and you see Everton and Leeds and Watford and Wolves, not probably the best players in attack to bring in. Now this is arranged in attack. So this is how good are the fixtures for the team's attack. So Man City's fixtures are the second best in the Premier League over the next 4 weeks for their attack. Liverpool's is, what's that, 7th, from what I can see. You can also organize it by defense, because those have different metrics as well. So if you look at defense, City's still second, but Spurs goes to the top. Because Brighton's been struggling, Brentford's been struggling, Norwich has changed managers, and Leicester's been struggling. So the scout deems them a little bit better for defense. Whereas Watford's dropped right down to the bottom, and they say, against these teams, your defense ain't going to be able to handle these teams. This is the worst set of fixtures you could possibly have. And could be quite tricky for you. So that's kind of how you look at things. This is also... Excuse me. This is also something I look at when doing the teams to target videos. because I go, okay, over the next 4 weeks, who's got the best attack? And I go, well, Man City and Chelsea are in there, so they got to be in the video. And is there anyone in defense that probably shows up there? Well, Leicester, maybe, and we talk about that. For the most part, anyway. There could be just a form team that's just defying the fixtures and stuff, too. Man City's usually one of those teams. So yeah, that's the season ticker. That's kind of how we look at the fixtures and see what's going on. This is super useful if you're a fixtures versus form manager. I typically favor fixtures. Well, I also like to use the eye test as well, but I typically favor fixtures. You have to still prove something that, hey, look, you're playing, decently well, and you have good fixtures coming up. So, as an example, Kane was just not enough to bring in. I thought, he showed me a little bit of something in the second half versus Leeds. I thought, okay, this looks promising here. But I waited on him for Burnley, whereas Jota was like, okay, Jota looks really good. He's got Southampton at home. They might attack Liverpool for some crazy reason. They did. Jota scored 2. That's what you got to kind of look at. So that's what I look at when it comes to fixtures like that. Very, very, very useful, I would say. Very, very useful. In terms of the run of the fixtures, let me actually bring up the... I'm going to have to scroll with this. Yeah, so you can get the gist of the fixtures on this... Oh, that's not what I want to do. So it's cut off anyway because of the way I did it. But we can always scroll. I just have it saved on a snippet tool here. So first fixture, these two up here are on a. Where's the pen? These two fixtures here are on Tuesday, tomorrow. The deadline is 1.5 hours before the Newcastle versus Norwich kickoff. The convenient thing is that if you look at the times, Newcastle versus Norwich, so this is 7:30 UK time, but they're 45 minutes apart. So basically when this one goes to halftime, this one's going to be kicking off, which is quite nice. So you get to watch a little bit of over halftime. You can at least watch the start of the Newcastle-Norwich game or whatever. And if you wanted to watch the Leeds-Palace game and found them more interesting, you could just continue to watch the game. And when, when it's halftime of the Leeds-Crystal Palace game, you can just watch 15 minutes or the end of the Newcastle-Norwich game. Seems pretty good to me. So during this set of fixtures, I have one from Leeds. I have Rafinha playing. I have my goalkeeper, Guaita, and then I also have St. Maximin. So I have 3 players going on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the 7:30 kickoffs are these first 4. I have none in the Southampton-Leicester game. I have 2 from Chelsea. I have none from West Ham and Brighton. And I have 1 in the Wolves-Burnley game. I also have 2 from Man City, and then 3 from Liverpool. So I have a lot of players in basically 3 games. And if they don't hit, then I'm probably in the toilet, unless St. Maximin does something really good. And then if you look on the Thursday, we got Spurs versus Brentford and Man United versus Arsenal. The players that I would have playing in these games are on the bench, so I'm not going to be looking at those games. So which is why we're also doing the preview show. I can't spell preview, but you get the point. We're doing it right after this at 7 p.m. EST. Because we only have just the 2 games left, and I also need to prepare for my vacation on Thursday. So that means I have to get to bed early. So basically, I'm going to be watching the United game and then going to sleep, pretty much. So yeah, I have a lot of players playing in three games on the Wednesday, so that's probably going to make or break me. I will be very happy if in the first game St. Maximin gets a goal or something like that. That'll help me out. Rafinha getting something, or Guaita getting something out of that game. That would definitely help me. That would definitely help me quite a lot. So looking forward to that game. Those two games. A lot of managers probably won't look at it, and I'll probably jump to an early points lead in that sense, because a lot of managers don't have, like, everyone might have, like, Gallagher as an example. Rafinha might be in a few teams as well, but I highly doubt that anyone's going to have Newcastle or Norwich players. So if St. Maximin goes heavy in that game like he did when he got his 10 points, I could be looking really, really good. Because this week it doesn't look like I'm going to have any weather bailing me out for a few players that won't end up playing. Let's move on to the next table. So, the next table is where we take a look at players that are due a goal, basically, which is the goals imminent table. So the goals imminent table is a table that is designed to show you which players are getting attempts on goal, or attempts at goal rather, are doing it regularly, but haven't been scoring as much as what they should have, whether it be due to inaccurate shots or just general wastefulness, or being a bit unlucky. As an example, this table is sorted by XG delta, which means if you have a negative score, the worse your negative score is, the worse. That means that for every 1.0 in the minus, in the red you are, that means you've basically missed out a certain number of chances to accumulate to at least a goal. So as an example, Adam Armstrong has had 3 big chances total, as you can see here. And he's missed 3 big chances in his last 16 goal attempts, 10 of which are inside the box, 4 of which are on target. And he's missed around a goal worth of shots, which is means he's probably due one, I would say, because it's not like he's not getting goal attempts. He's had 16 goal attempts in the last 4 games. So he's getting 4 shots a game. And he's averaging around close to 3 out of those 4 inside the box, which is good. So that shows you that Adam Armstrong isn't necessarily a bad pick. He's just not been as clinical as what he could be. If we look at Salah, on the other hand, Salah's had 1 big chance. He's not missed it. He scored. But he's had 12 goal attempts, 10 inside the box, but he's only had 3 on target. So Salah has been a bit more wasteful with his attempts. He still had a fair few of them inside the box. He's just not hitting the target. But it does show that his shots inside the box may have been like just barely inside the box or at weird angles, because he's only expected to have missed 0.38 goals. And that's mainly probably due down to the fact that he did score the big chance that he did have, which was not last game week before last. So that would have been game week 12. So this is a good indicator of players that you might want to look to bring in if they have a decent fixture and they've been, posting numbers that look good, and they're maybe due one as well. So very interesting to see. Like Adam Armstrong's XG non-penalty is 2.03. He scored 1 goal that wasn't from a big chance, which was the crazy goal he scored like 2 minutes into like the Villa game that got Dean Smith sacked. But he's missed 3 big chances, so yeah. So it can also show you like players that aren't clinical enough as well. That's another thing the table shows you. So it's very, very useful on that front. It can also show you potentially players for like buy, hold, and sell options. Even captaincy options as well. Because you can say, oh, well, Salah, he's on the goals imminent table, which means he's due to get a goal, and he's been getting assists left, right, and center. So maybe this is the week where he gets a hole, which is the title of the stream. Salah hole question mark, which is why I will be captaining Salah until he gives me a reason not to. That's why I think. Because Salah's the player right now where he hasn't given us a reason not to captain him. And he is someone who, in every game I see him play, I'm thinking, one, don't like you because you're a Liverpool player. But beside that fact, one, he's just always looks threatening. And this is a different Salah to what he was when he got 300 plus points. He's looking for the pass. He's also looking for the shot. He's just genuinely a world-class, brilliant forward that can make something out of nothing, but can also supply, can do whatever the team needs him to do, and he's just constantly a threat. There'll be times where Salah will dribble down into, blind alleys, and he might be having a stinker, and then all of a sudden, he gets the ball, dribbles past the player, bang, wraps it in the top corner. Salah can do that. It's like an inevitable thing in FPL almost. He just can score. He can just always score. And having a player in your team that's just has literally not blanked since Gameweek 2, and he's gotten a return in every other game since which, whether it be an assist, a goal, 3 goals, 2 assists, whatever it may be, there's no reason for me not to captain him unless he starts going on a drought where it's like 2 to 3 game weeks of just, somewhat easy opposition where he doesn't score. So if we take a look at his fixtures, Salah's next few fixtures are against Everton, Wolves, and Aston Villa. If against Everton and Wolves, Salah doesn't do anything, or he blanks, and we start to see a little bit of regression, or he's a bit inaccurate, then we can start saying, maybe we don't have to captain him, because in game week 16, if I remember correctly, where are they to? Man United have Norwich. And Ronaldo is Mr. Inevitable himself. So Ronaldo could be someone who comes in and does really well, because his stats show that no matter what league he plays in, if he plays against lower opposition or teams that basically end up in the bottom 15 or the bottom 5, basically from 15th and worse down the table, 15th and lower, he scores versus them. So then we can have an argument and say, well, is Salah the best captaincy shout? Because right at the moment, there's nobody that you can guarantee is like, this player's going to get a return. You can say that for the fullbacks, but, if they don't get the clean sheet, their bonus goes down drastically. Salah's not necessarily a bonus magnet himself, but if they don't keep a clean sheet, their bonus points go down drastically. Unless they're creating boatloads of chances, which luckily for us, Reece James, Cancelo, and Trent do. So if you think there's a chance to get a clean sheet and attacking return, then maybe it is likely good for the defender. But also in the same vein, you can say that if the clean sheet's on, well, they only get 3 more points than Salah, because Salah also gets that clean sheet point. And it's also probably a good fixture for Salah to score in. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. A good fixture to captain Trent's also probably a good fixture to captain Salah as well. Unless you could predict the future, in which case then you probably just win FPL every season. Which would make it kind of boring. So basically, this table can look at potential trends of players that may have been a bit unlucky and are potentially going to catch fire at any point. And this table shows me that Salah has been a bit wasteful and his shots have been off target a lot. If that continues, then you can say, well, is he actually permanent captain resource material? If it continues, then we have to start seeing other options as well. Because if Salah starts to be wasteful, but Trent looks to be more and more productive, then we could potentially say, well, maybe Trent is good in this fixture. Or better than Salah. And that ties us nicely into our captaincy table. So this is the table that I use to draw up for the captaincy videos every week as well. The table's just titled simply, Who to Captain? Organized by XGI as well. Expected goal involvement. This is over the last 4 game weeks. Yeah, Salah's not at the top. Funnily enough. Expecting a massive performance from Chelsea. Yeah, I think Chelsea should smash Watford to bits. The thing is, though, there was a pass map. It's on my. I saw my Twitter. I retweeted it. It's basically was a pass map, and it was like called Finding Timo Werner, and or Finding Timo, because Finding Nemo, the pun there. And it basically just showed there was like no passes going into him at all, and which is a bit worrying if you're Lukaku coming back in the team. But maybe they're just waiting for somebody who can hold up the ball in order for them to get the ball back into them. So hold up the ball, sprays it wide, runs in the box, ball in, Lukaku finish. That's what Chelsea want to do in that scenario. So, yeah. And Lukaku probably will start. It's a team that Lukaku should do very well against. Center backs, which he could potentially bully, lower opposition. Lukaku's going to be looking quite good in it. He also came on the pitch and created a chance as well when in like the 10 minutes that he played. So he is also providing as well. Alonso's down the bottom because, again, he hasn't played very much, but did create 2 chances. Again, look, Son and Kane, bottom half of that table. Not going anywhere near them at the moment. There's still signs that they were good. They should be fresh versus Brentford, but again, nothing really too glaring or that's standing out to say, hey, we're going to captain them. Antonio. If we look at Antonio, because I'm going to take a look at him. I got rid of him in game week 8, if I remember correctly. Since game week 8, because I got rid of him, I got rid of Ben Rama, I got rid of Fornals. He has played, 6 game weeks. He's played 90 minutes in every game and has only scored once. And at that point, during the fixtures, I was saying, well, Everton, Spurs, Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, and City, all of those are tricky fixtures now. Everton, didn't know they were going to be rubbish at the time. Spurs normally would have been tricky. But they were collapsing as well. Villa and Liverpool, I definitely did dodge stuff there because they scored 3 and 4 in consecutive games, and Lukaku was always like the assist of the assister, which we got really lucky for on that one. But if you look at his XGI over the last 4 game weeks, it's bottom 5. He's less than Callum Wilson. He's less than Kane. So he hasn't been doing well. And if we look, last 4 game weeks, shots inside the box, less than a shot inside the box per game. Just the one big chance created. No big chances, no goals, no assists. Only 3 chances created total. Playing more of a provider. Maybe that's because of the difficult fixtures. He's playing a bit more deeper and trying to link things up. I took a risk and took out Ronaldo for Jesus. The City are looking more dangerous and more dangerous in attacking. Well, that follows suit into the fixtures because over the next 4 game weeks, City is second on the fixture ticker. Basically first because Burnley doesn't really count for teams that they could play that their attack would be good against, which is very interesting. Then we come around to the middling of the table. So you even got the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo is above Kane and Son. Cristiano Ronaldo is around the same as Vardy. Vardy did well recently. Took his goals well with Maddison and the team doing well. Then you got some of the fullbacks, Reece James and Cancelo. Raul Jimenez is up there as well. Then you come to like the big guns. Bernardo Silva's been doing well. And then you just have this massive jump where you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Salah, Mane, Jota. 4 Liverpool out of the top 5 players, and Gundogan's in there as well. And Gundogan is somebody that I also made a mention to as a potential differential this coming game week. One of the guys I know in my mini league, or one of my mini leagues, he brought in Gundogan this week. Um, so yeah, Gundogan, Mahrez, when the key players are out and you can predict Pep's team, and it becomes predictable, that's when City players are dangerous. Gundogan does really, really well when De Bruyne is out of the team. Just does really well. That's how it works. Riyad Mahrez, when you know he's playing game in, game out, we know Mahrez is at the top of all the stats tables. Could have potentially put Mahrez on this table. Because you can select how many players you want. Gundogan is unbelievable at getting assists. Yeah, his assist that he did get was a bit kind of fortunate, but he's very good at getting in the box and being in the right place at the right time. So if he doesn't score, it's usually an assist anyway. Like, if City do one of those cutbacks, Gundogan is somewhere within, like, 6 feet of the ball, almost certainly. 10 feet of the ball, at most. Unless he's the one doing the cutback, in which case he's probably getting the assist. But if we look at this table shows that we should captain Jota. Over the last 4 weeks, Jota's had 3 goals. 11 shots inside the box. 5 big chances. Salah's only had 1 big chance. But the reason we don't captain Jota is because they play on the same team. If you captain Jota versus Salah, if you captained Jota last week versus Salah, you would have done really well. But effective ownership comes into it, and we're thinking, well, then why would you have a player in your team where what's the likelihood that Salah doesn't get a return but Jota does? Probably very unlikely. So it is a bit tricky to kind of think that way. If Jota played for Redmen FC, completely different team, and was posting these numbers, you'd probably be thinking, well, maybe Jota's the one to captain. It's very interesting. If we look at expected assists, Salah is up there as well, in the top 6, slightly behind Ronaldo, but he is very good. He's been a lot better at creating stuff this season, hence why he's gotten 3 assists over the last 4 game weeks. Chelsea is tough to predict, but I reckon the front 3 against Watford will be Mount, Lukaku, and Hudson-Odoi. I think Hudson-Odoi was probably the best out of the front 3 that started versus United. I think Werner was just he wasn't great at all. I think Hudson-Odoi also didn't start. They started the game brightly, but he should have taken his chance. Hudson-Odoi could have scored twice, easy. Werner probably should have scored once, or at least made the chances better for himself. Rudiger could have scored at the very end. Like, if Rudiger's a midfielder or a striker, he probably puts it on target and it's probably a goal. So, yeah. I think Lukaku will benefit from players more so like Mount and Havertz than he will for the likes of Odoi and Werner. Guys who want to run in behind or dribble for themselves and shoot. Lukaku wants the likes of Ziyech and Mount and Havertz giving the ball to him because they're providers. And all Lukaku wants is to get the ball somewhere around the width of the goal, from the penalty spot inwards or somewhere in the box mostly, and he has a clear line of sight of goal. That's what Lukaku wants, or he wants it on his head. Which is why Reece James, in that Arsenal game, when Lukaku burst onto the Premier League scene once again, why everyone was looking at Reece James like, oh my goodness, this guy's so good, and then he got injured. Which is why I was keen to get him back when he came back, because I was like, they can't keep this guy out of the team. And at the time, Chilwell was doing decently because he had just come back into the team, and he did good for the England squad as well. And I said, I'll go with both of them, and haven't looked back since. But yeah, this table shows me that Salah's numbers are still good enough because he's still getting the same number of shots inside the box as Jota. They may not be as accurate. He shows that his expected goal involvement has gone down, but he's still producing 1 goal, 3 assists, and overperforming like crazy over the last 4 game weeks. He's had 1 big chance and he scored it. So, or he had 1 big chance and missed it and got the other one. But yeah, Reece James is ridiculous for fullbacks. Top 3 players of the season. That's actually probably interesting debate. I would say Salah, João Cancelo, and Reece James, I'd probably say are probably top 3. I would say Trent is probably in there. That's the thing. Those three fullbacks, Trent, Cancelo, Reece James, they're all buying for second and third and fourth. I would then probably put, like, Mane hasn't played well this season, but his output's been really good as well. Like, nobody's looking at Mane just because he's so expensive. That's the problem. If they had made Mane like 10-5 this season or 11, then there would have been a discussion. Because you'd have been like, well, 1.5 million or 2 million is way less. So it's like, do we take Salah on penalties or do we take Mane? Because you look at Mane's stats. I mean, we can go look at them. I considered Mane as well. If we look at, so let's take a look at Jota's stats on the season. So Jota, 7 goals, 1 assist, just over 800 minutes played. Right? We look at Salah. Salah's played 300 more minutes, but he's got 4 more goals and he's got 8 more assists. But Salah's been mental. Like, just crazy, out of this world good. He's been just a different person. Mane, 7 goals, 2 assists, and played like 100 and extra more minutes. But Mane's still been doing well. Like, if he keeps going, if you basically triple this score for the most part, triple this this output, he gets over 200 points easily. He probably gets around 20 goals, and he gets around like 6 to 7 assists or something like that. That's a ridiculous season. Diego Jota probably gets around 15, 20 goals this season. Few assists. Salah could end up on, who knows. He could break his own record. We don't know. But, yeah, I mean, how many goals did Salah score in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row he scored, which is just crazy. And he was just doing it casually, which is really interesting. But yeah, so that's the captaincy table. Very useful. We use it quite a lot. It's public in my under my my tables as well, because I set all my tables to public. And another thing to look at is the Whipping Boys table, the captaincy against. You've probably seen this table as well. I got a feeling that Lukaku won't be far off Salah for goals at the end of the season. It depends on if Lukaku stays fit, because I think Lukaku only has... I picked him to be Golden Boot winner this season, but again, he's behind because of the injury. He's got 3 goals, so he's 8 behind Salah at the moment. So he's going to have to pick it up real quick. But he can definitely do it. I mean, he scores a couple against Watford, a couple against Leeds, and then he's right back in it, you know. He'll be on like 7. It's just, can Chelsea do it? Like, this run of Lukaku's fit for this, like, this could be like goal, 2 goals, 2 goals, goal. And then you're looking at some ridiculous run. But it's just a matter of can they get him the ball on a consistent basis. But yeah, I picked Lukaku to get Golden Boot and Chelsea to win the Premier League. But actually, let me look at the Premier League table. I haven't looked at that in a while. Premier League table. So as it stands, Chelsea is currently top on 30 points. City are not far behind them on 29. One thing to note is that Liverpool has the best goal difference, with plus 28. And there's a massive gap now between 3rd and 4th place. Massive gap. Like, the drop between 4th and 11th is 7 points, which isn't that much. West Ham's on 23, Crystal Palace is on, or Villa, sorry, is on 16, and they're in 13th. So, one bad fixture one way, one good fixture the other way, and you're jumping 5, 6, 7 places. But then you got to get that same-ish amount to get to the top 3, basically. So everyone's vying for that 4th. But Chelsea just don't concede goals. That's the good thing about them. Whereas Liverpool just score a bazillion goals. The amount of chances Chelsea create, he has the potential to at least get a goal a game if he stays fit. Yeah, exactly. That's all United need to do with Ronaldo as well. Just create chances. I mean, these guys in Serie A, if they got chances, the ball went in the back of the net. Plain and simple. They're really good goal scorers. So yeah, that's the captaincy table. This is the other table that we also use to kind of accompany or like look at the captaincy table alongside of it. And this is the Whipping Boys table, or the captaincy against table. And this basically organizes it by XG conceded. You can organize it by the other things as well, to show you how bad the defense of a team is. So if I had Salah, who was posting fantastic numbers, and he was going up against Newcastle this week, I would say that's probably a match made in heaven, because Newcastle concede the most XG out of any team over the last 4 game weeks, and Salah's scoring boatloads of goals. So, yeah, it's looking good. Like Everton is what? 3, 6, they're in the top 8 for XG conceded. But they've been somewhat fortunate probably, or about par for their XG conceded versus goals conceded, with 6 versus 5.82. But they're in the top half, and Liverpool are playing them this week, and they probably are worse off than they're probably worse off than what the stats actually show based on just the eye test. They just look all over the shop. The best defense over the last 4 game weeks has been Man City XG conceded wise. Goals conceded wise, though, Chelsea is the best with just 2 conceded. But yeah, this is just over the last 4 game weeks. If we look at it across the whole season, we could just set it to all matches and filter it. And then filter it by XG conceded. We can see that Norwich and Newcastle are at the very top, and Watford, 3 teams that we probably expect to get relegated. Whereas if you look at Chelsea are 3rd best for XG conceded. City are actually the best for XG conceded. And they've conceded 1 less goal than probably what they should have. Whereas Chelsea should have conceded around 13 goals. But they've actually only conceded 5. And that's because Mendy's very good. That's when you know your goalkeeper's doing well. Because of his XG prevented. Which is basically the accumulation of the shots XG versus if the goalkeeper saved them or not. So, like, if you just look at the disparity, like here, look, just 5 goals conceded, but their XG conceded is 12.95. So Chelsea, based on the shots taken of and the accumulation of XG, they should have conceded 13 goals this season. Or thereabouts. And they've only conceded 5. Which is crazy. Whereas you look at Palace have less XG conceded, 12.76, but they've conceded 19 goals. So whether that's just unlucky or poor goalkeeping or whatever it may be, typically worse teams will concede more than their XG suggests, and teams that are better will concede less than their XG suggests. It's kind of how it works. But to be way down, like Chelsea conceding 13 or thereabouts, 13 XG conceded, but only conceding 5, that's just something different. Excuse me. Mendy going to get the Golden Glove? Well, at the moment, Liverpool, Chelsea, and City all have 8 clean sheets. So it's pretty tight. But they're looking at over 20 clean sheets each if they keep it up. And all 3 of them have very good shot-stopping goalkeepers. I would say probably Ederson's probably the worst out of the 3. I would say Alisson's probably better at shot-stopping than Ederson is. And then Mendy's probably the best at shot-stopping out of all of them. Distribution-wise, Ederson is definitely the king, with Mendy probably being at the bottom of that. Playing it out from the back, Ederson wins it again, which is why City are so comfortable when teams try to press them. So, I think they have the advantage there. But there's the odd occasion where, versus West Ham, Ederson was never going to save that. You could have put 3 Edersons in goal. He's not saving that ball from Lanzini. But Mendy has definitely saved Chelsea a few times. The one thing also to know about Liverpool is that typically in the first 20 minutes or so, their defense isn't fully rock solid. They will give away a very good chance almost every game, from what I've seen this season, to the opposition, which kind of like spark them and invigorate them to go on and win the game. If you take that chance, then you could basically put Liverpool in trouble. Same with Chelsea. Chelsea are like that too. They don't necessarily give you the chance, but if you can get the chance, like how United did, where they made the mistake, they create a lot of chances, but they're a lot smaller of chances in some cases. But against United, they should have probably won. But there are games where you could potentially stifle them. City are like that sometimes, but like again, City and Chelsea, like Chelsea have Lukaku. He's going to come back into the team. If they can play around him, they will basically do what City didn't do in the summer, which is basically go get somebody who can fit into the system, but also is there literally just to put the ball in the back of the net. That's why Ronaldo or Kane would have been so dangerous at City, because you can design pressing systems to whereas Ronaldo or Kane doesn't actually have to press very much. They just need to be positioned well for the press to work. And then it just creates major advantages, because then you have the best basic sharpshooter in the box raring to go. So one pressing tactic is basically, like people think, oh, when you press you have to run a lot. You don't. Some players have to run a decent bit. Some don't. Depends on who those players are. So if you're Ronaldo, as an example, you don't want Ronaldo running a lot. You want him to conserve his energy, and you want the players that aren't necessarily as good as him at scoring to do the running. So what you tell Ronaldo to do is anytime this center back gets the ball, go to the other center back and just stand on him. Or you see their number 6, man mark the guy. Follow him wherever he goes when we don't have the ball. That's all you have to do. That's not going to require much running for the most part. Because then teams will be more likely to be like, oh, I can't pass to this guy, and they'll be forced to go one way. What happens when you force them one way? The touchline comes into it, and then they have to either make a super risky pass that's 20 plus yards, that has to be looped over players, or they're rushed and they lose the ball. And that's all you need to do. You just need to corner the opposition into making a bad decision and turning the ball over, and then you can get it and then progress it back up the field. And the higher you win up the field, the more dangerous it is, because of the fact that they're not ready for it, and you're in a much better position where you don't have to go very far, which means Ronaldo doesn't have to sprint 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards to get to the goal. He sprints 10, and he's on the penalty spot, and he's shooting the ball in the back of the net. Pressing is very intriguing stuff, but you have to do it as a collective unit. Everyone has to know, when this guy gets the ball, this is what we want to do. If they get the ball here, this is what we want to do. So it is being a well-drilled team. It takes time for that, but in the grand scheme of things, you can't do it just on an individual basis. Like people say, oh yeah, we'll take United as an example. Edinson Cavani or Bruno Fernandes, oh, they're running all over the place. Look at them pressing so well. It's useless. Completely useless. They might as well not even do it. Because they're just running around and they're just going to get passed around. That's what they're going to do. What you have to do is, if you want to press as a unit, is you need players that if Bruno's going to this guy, then another guy needs to be following up, cutting the passing lane to that guy, and cutting the passing lane of that guy, and cutting the passing lane of that guy, and then it's a situation where the guy gets the ball, Bruno's running at them, and he's like, I can't pass it to anyone because his teammates, Bruno's teammates, are blocking off all the lanes that I can pass to. I have to then dink it over him 40 yards or something to get it into the striker's feet. And that's why Liverpool are so good at pressing, because they have Van Dijk and Matip, who are massive, and they can just head the ball away. So, yeah. But yeah, I've rambled on enough. This is probably going to be the team for the game week. So we got Guaita, Cancelo, Diaz, Trent, James, Alonso, vice captain, Salah captain, Rafinha, Jota, Jimenez, and Saint Maximin. With Tony, Smith Rowe, Brownhill on the bench, with Ramsdale as the backup goalkeeper. That's probably going to be the team. We're rolling a transfer this week. And before we sign off, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout just one more time. So you saw all the stats tables for Fantasy Football Scout that we use. Our buy, hold, sell for the week. I would probably say buy Jota if you don't have him. Buy Alonso if you have Chilwell. A hold this week for me would be Jimenez, even though he didn't score versus Norwich, I would say. And then a sell this week would, I mean, if you kept Antonio this long, he'd probably be a hold, I guess, as well. But a sell would probably be Phil Foden, most likely. I know a lot of managers have him as well. So yeah, but yeah, you can make all those decisions using the tables in the Fantasy Football Scout members area, heat maps, and all that sort of stuff, where you can check as well. That's something we didn't show, but we'll probably show on a later stream as well. But let's move over to the big screen. So that is going to do it for the deadline stream. If you're watching this over on YouTube, we did this over on Twitch the night before 7 p.m. EST. There's a pinned comment down below. Go check it out. You can see when the next streams are. So make sure to follow, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And until the next one, take care.